Hello. In the beginning, there was me, Dr. Roger Gewald, and I want to welcome you to our show, the show where you get the absolute unvarnished truth, no messing about, no gaslighting, no obfuscating about the real stories of today, the real news stories around the world, and the truth about what the statements of all the good and the great, the big shots, the bad guys, the good guys, what it really means, what they're really saying, what they understand and what they don't understand. I think it's the only place you'll get it. But if not, let me know if you think we can do better. Today we have a great guest, Lewis Schaffer, one of the funniest comedians around. But before we get to him, I'd like to speak about a trend that appears to be developing in the way justice is administered in this country. It's very worrying. I'm talking about the case of the Labour MP Mike Amesbury, who very many of you, I'm sure, will have seen on those television images that were just horrifying of him late at night or early morning after drinking, punching one of his constituents, and then continuing to taunt him and strike him while he was on the ground. It was just horrific. And at the end of all of this, he gets a 10-week prison sentence. Can you imagine? 10 weeks. And this from an elected official. I mean, can you imagine if Joe Bloggs did that outside some boozer? It's just unbelievable. And I couldn't help but compare that with other cases like Hugh Edwards, who admittedly for years and years engaged in trading in or distributing or viewing disgusting sexual, pornographic, I guess, if that's the right word, pictures of children, sexually disgusting pictures of children, and trading them or viewing them together with convicted sex offenders. And it just, the mind boggles. And he got 6 months suspended for 2 years. I mean, he basically walked free. And don't get me started on Lucy Connolly, poor woman who tweeted something and deleted it and got more than 2 years in prison. I mean, what in the hell is going on? It's unbelievable. It seems that our society has turned into one that finds more damage in the spoken word than in physical violence. And there are examples and cases like this all over the place, and accusations of the police acting sometimes in the same manner. What is going on? Do we need some sort of commission, some sort of oversight to examine a random sampling around the country of decisions by judges to make sure that they are fair and balanced and merit the crime and the misdemeanor being committed? I'm beside myself when I read these things and I look at those pictures of Amesbury and what he did. And at 10 weeks, while this woman rots in prison for 2 years for a tweet, for goodness sake. We really need somebody, some sort of minister of fairness and justice or something. I know there are all kinds of sentencing rules and codes and all this stuff, but is anybody reading it? I really don't know what's going on. And I hope somebody will help me find out. So let's go over to Lewis Schaffer, who, in my opinion at least, is one of the really great comedians in the UK.
In your opinion.
Where he came from and what he's doing here, that's a mystery, but he's a very, very funny man. And one of the stars of the great GB News. So let's talk to Lewis and see what he has to say. Hi, Lewis.
Hi.
How are you?
Thank you, Roger. Thank you for that introduction. Stars of GB News. That's not saying very much. It's not really a comedy channel, and I'm not even. I don't feel loved wherever I go. What am I doing in this country? Is that I made a mistake, basically. I misread the room. I thought the room was going to be. And anyway, I overstayed. I've been here for 25 years. I think I'm it's a bit too long for me. My bitterness is really coming out. I don't know. Are you bitter? You don't seem bitter. You seem like you love the whole situation.
I do, I have to admit.
Yeah. Because you don't know what's happening.
I know.
You don't
I'm part of the great unwashed. I don't really know what's going on, but
and you're happy, you know,
and I'm happy. I've got people like you to guide me though, so it's
into
good.
misery. That's where I'll guide you. You won't be guided. You say, "Oh, he's kidding." I might be wrong too.
Yeah, you could be. Talking about misery, let's talk about this Labour MP for a moment, Mike Amesbury, who you'll recall was sent to prison for, I think it was 10 weeks,
Yeah.
for punching one of his constituents in the face and then even kicking him, I believe, and attacking him while he was on the ground. I mean, it was just an awful way to behave. He gets a 10-week sentence, and then people like Lucy Connolly uh, got, I think, a couple of years for a deleted Facebook or something post. It's just unbelievable, the disparity between these cases, and I wonder what a professional like you thinks about that disparity and what you think it says about the current state of free speech and justice in the UK.
You know what? I've become so English. I've become so negative. I should really be positive and like act like I don't know what's going on in this country. But it seems like first of all, it's labor, and these people, are the most arrogant labor people, are unbelievably the most arrogant people in the world. They think they know better than everybody, so they think they have a right to punch people in the face. And they also, because labor and the left are so feminized. He just thinks, well, punch somebody, it'll be great, because that's what they want to do. They want to be brutalists. Is that the right word? They want to be brutal. I don't want to say bad things about labor because the Tories are just as bad. This is England. It's a leftist country, and in a leftist police state, if you say something wrong, you're going to be put in jail for 3 years. If you punch somebody in the face, you'll. I don't even know why it's 10 weeks because they made us think about it. If it had just been like left to its own devices, the police wouldn't have even come. I mean, I know the police. I don't know the police in this country, luckily. I don't know the police, but I know I've seen, the police are not famous for actually doing stuff.
Um,
It's
as a
a it's
Go on.
Britain. And us in America, I never expected it would be like this in Britain. I expected it would be just like America, only without the Constitution. But Americans are not British people, and the Constitution is not is so much better to have. It's written down the rights that people have, freedom of speech. I'm freedom of speech. So this country's not, and it's part and wants to be part of Europe, and Europe is on the way down. There, I was on TV last night. I was calling the German leader and Macron. These people are like losers. They're not like that. They have no. They're not fighting the right enemy. They are the wrong enemy. Aren't these people? I shouldn't speak about it because I'm a visitor here. They're going to ask me to leave, and I'll have to leave.
As a comedian who often engages in provocative humor,
Yeah. Well,
do
all
you
humor has to be provocative. You provoke
yeah,
jokes, so it's all provocative.
do you think the UK's approach to free speech is becoming increasingly restrictive, especially when it comes to online content?
It is restrictive. It's totally, first of all, they've got this off-comp business, which is so unconstitutional. And and this idea of balance, which is an impossibility. No one is ever balanced. No TV station can be balanced. No viewpoint should be balanced. You should just have openness. They're afraid of openness. People don't say things what's on their mind. That's what makes America just so great. There's people actually saying things. I mean, if you're on the other, it's a police state. This country. I don't know if that's the right word. It's authority. It's like the. I could see how it was like living in East Germany or the Soviet Union back in the day, even now.
The BBC has faced a lot of criticism, obviously, for being biased in its coverage in a number of areas, and many people have even called for its defunding.
I've called for it, Steve. I think it's ridiculous that we have to give money to those people. I've called for that, and they're 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 the they're the propaganda net. They're the propaganda arm of Team World of people who want one world made up of all people being nice to each other, which is an impossibility with them in charge. It's the left. It's the left. It's the idea of Europe, which sounds great when you're in America. Oh, Europe, and then you get here and it's just so it strangles us, Europe.
Yeah, well, I mean, strangle. I mean, you've certainly had your share of jokes and controversy. Why do you think, or controversy, as we'd say in America, why do you
Yeah.
think there's such a heavy push to cancel comedians and public figures over things said in humor?
Because first of all, there is no such thing as humor. Humor is all political, and everything you say has a political thing. Is whether they take you seriously or not. And people in this country take things seriously. It's a very the people want to be funny. I'm not saying the people are funny, but the people want to be funny. That you get here, they just tell you a joke. They just want you to laugh and like them. And so the way you get through to an English
So, I
person,
mean, well, what's wrong with that? Why do they want to cancel them?
they want to cancel them because it's a threat to them because they're being exposed. I saw you interview Tony Blair. I don't know how you got that stink off of you. He's like the most horrible person in the beginning part of the 20th century and the last century too. Just I don't know how horrible he is. He's just probably a puppet like everybody else, like Keir Starmer. But you're not allowed to, because when you laugh at them, they know the importance of
He's a
laughter.
very, very charming, very impressive guy.
So is Hitler. I'm allowed to say that. Hitler was a great guy. I met Hitler. I knew Hitler. Did you know Hitler? He was a
I
great.
shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't
You
laugh.
shouldn't laugh because you interviewed him, but it was good. I saw you there. You looked really professional. You sounded great.
Thank
But
you.
um, and he's did he was it his idea to let in 20 million people, of which 10 million people hate this country, including myself? Was it a good idea? It wasn't a good. It's not a good idea.
But
I'm
why is the left so intent on canceling people that they disagree with?
Because they've got a world plan because they're smarter than me. I don't know about you. They're probably not. You represent good things, I guess, possibly, but they think they're smarter than people.
But even when your jokes are clearly only jokes.
They're not jokes. They're not jokes. They have to be presented only as jokes.
Oh,
Roger, they're
you're
not
deadly
jokes.
serious, you mean?
I'm deadly. Every time I say something, I'm 100% serious.
Give me an example.
I hate Jews. Not all Jews, just my parents. I mean, it's is that serious? Yeah, it's serious. But I mean, what does it mean? I might, you can change your mind a second later. It isn't, there's no such thing as just a joke. And no one wants to be, I want to be a joke because I don't want people to take what I say too seriously. Do you? You
So
do. You're serious. You're a serious person with a job and money and a nice job.
so is it harder in the current culture then?
Is in the current color, is it harder to be funny? It was always harder for me to be funny. It was hard. It's hard to be funny. It's very hard.
How did you become a comedian? What led to
I
it?
became a comedian because I'm a Jew, and Jews are funny. And it was the 1990s, and there wasn't much for me to do. I have what's called I took a Jordan Peterson test. I've got 0% industriousness, and I don't even know what that is. I was too lazy to Google what industriousness is. I'm so hard. I'm so not hardworking. I'm so filled with doubt that a friend. I always wanted to be a comedian, but that's how you become a comedian. It also has to be jobs for being a comedian. America's such a rich country, and I don't know what kind of crazy person I was to move here thinking I'd do okay. It's such a rich country that they have jobs for comedians. They don't have jobs for comedians in Somalia. There's no money there to hire. So that's
And
how
you
it's. Yeah.
and you don't go outside either, you said.
And I don't go outside. No, not as much. I'm going to the Crystal Palace football match tonight.
Okay.
Forward to that. And I'm talking to you. This is kind of like outside.
Yeah.
I know we're inside. And
Yeah.
I go to the sunbed. That's why I've got a bit of color.
Uh-huh.
I look all right. Do I look all right?
Nice tan. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's how you become a comedian. And then you're told, oh, English people like stand-up comedy. And I didn't believe that my comedy was sophisticated to be enjoyed by English people, like the Monty Python Brigade. I didn't think that they would like me, but I thought maybe had a slight chance of a new audience to come here. And I wasn't ready to come here, and I wasn't. I mean, comedy is a very hard. It's a very hard thing. I think. Do
It
you?
is. It's very difficult.
It's very difficult because you're trying to elicit an emotion. It's like saying like tickle that person over there. Well, you could tickle them, or they could accuse you of something horrible. Either, it's not easy, Roger, to make
No,
some.
I know my daughter's a stand-up and it's very tough.
It's very tough.
Very tough.
Is she available? I've got a girlfriend right now, but is she available? Would you let her go out with me? No, of
No,
course.
you're too old.
Too old. That's a
Too,
horrible thing to say.
too old.
Yeah, too old.
What about this thing that
Why? 'Cause I'm
this
gonna
thing I've
die.
no huh?
I'm gonna die. I know I'm gonna die.
I don't want her bereft.
I just
And
became
besides which, she's married. So,
Oh, she's married too.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So listen, one thing I'm
I like
noticing,
married women because they can keep it secret. They don't tell everybody.
they don't tell everybody.
Yeah.
One thing I'm noticing lately, is comedians getting canceled or criticized
Yeah.
for jokes they told years ago rather than currently. What's that all about?
Well, because these people are afraid. They want purity of thought, and they don't want someone who's a Johnny come lately. I don't even know who's been canceled. Has anybody been canceled? There's nobody who's a right who's I mean, we're kind of canceled, or I'm kind of canceled because I'm on GB News. So it's like death by association. But and then they try to cancel me for like little bits for words that I said. I said women are horrible, so they thought I'm a misogynist, which I am. Of course, all men are.
Well, I mean, how could anybody think that when you speak like that,
Yeah, well, that doesn't mean you're a misogynist. You got to know your enemy. You call him. I don't know what I am, but they're looking because they're running out of people to hate because people have been so battered down by the I don't even know what to call the the state that sits there watching everything that we say.
the deep state.
The deep the deep state, but it's not just deep state because it's the repressive political authorities. They
So
don't
I get it, but so tell me personally, how has this affected your personal approach to performing?
It hasn't because I am not a winner. It's the ideas that are being canceled. You're not allowed to say anything in this country that violates our bond with all the loser nations in the world.
And do you violate that rule, or do
I
you
try to. I try to violate it. I try to say, but people then they don't like you. Already I've been canceled so many times.
give me an example?
I've been canceled because I went on my meat diet. I was canceled because I thought COVID was a bunch of BS. I've been canceled because I've had girlfriends and they were not happy with me. I mean, I don't know how they could not be happy with Lewis Schaffer. How could they not be happy
Exactly.
with me? I've been everybody's canceled. There's no way of not being canceled. And the greatest thing is when someone who you don't expect to be canceled gets canceled. And then you just, oh my God. Like when I don't want to say this, but when J.K. Rowling, who is a very nice woman, and she's on the right track, I think, with the whole children being trans and children in sports and stuff like that being trans. But I didn't expect that happening. I did a benefit for her. One of the best gigs I did. Did a benefit for her for her single mothers need our money uh, benefit
Yeah,
at the big theater there in London, like 1,400 people or something. I was brilliant,
I'm
and
sure.
but I hadn't been divorced at the time, so I didn't have the negativity that I have today towards what they were aiming for. All these single mothers thinking that they're okay, that the men are bad, and I don't think men are horrible.
They probably all wanted to meet you after.
They did, and I met him, and it was like, yeah, I was a bit of a celebrity for a second. It was good fun. It was good fun. There was what's her name? Eric's. What's her name? I don't remember her name, but she was a girl was there, and she flirted with me, and that was a nice thing. You know,
What are the ills of this country, and how would you fix them?
the ills of this country is filled with English people. That's the ills of this country, and they haven't had anything bad happen to them since the Nazis, and even that wasn't that bad. It was like a bit of bombing, and a couple of thousand died or whatever. But it hasn't. It has survived. It survived for 1,000 years from when the Normans invaded. So they've been. It's been a very lucky country. So they always think they'll always be in England. There won't always be in England. England countries, you need to fight for your country, and I think so. They don't have this sense of fear that the people need, like a fear what happens if you let democracy go, the fear that you have when you let in millions of people who hate this country and hate the laws of this country and hate drinking and hate.
So a big difference between the UK and the continent then, because of the war.
Well, in a way, yeah, the people of the continent are a bit more afraid. The Germans are afraid, but they're not allowed to be afraid because the last time that they were afraid, they invaded Poland. So they're not allowed to be afraid. But yeah, people need to be afraid in order to preserve. This is what I think. It makes for a very nice country during peacetime, but like in a situation now when the country's been overrun, which you're not even allowed to say overrun or invaded. Am I allowed to say that? You got to stop me from speaking and saying bad things, Roger.
What about Ukraine?
But Ukraine, I think the English people relate to Ukraine because they're a small independent country next to a much larger country that wants them. But they forget what the Ukraine is fighting for, which is an independent ethno state filled with Ukrainians. So they're going against what they believe in themselves. The English people should be fighting for the ethno state of the English people. They should be fighting for the ethno state of the Ukrainian people, and they should be fighting for the ethno state of the Russian people. But they've they've lost their English people have lost their way. When I came to this country, it was cute, but you could see the cracks already. It was like, oh, this is nice. There are old buildings. There are cobblestone streets. There are people in a pub drinking beer like we've seen in the movies. But over time, like London has been completely, I mean, people coming from America still think, oh, it's amazing. That's how you know we're old, Roger, because it's we're not happy with the changes. It has something to do with has to do with the way we used to be and now we are now. It's just change is bad. It's really bad.
What about Gaza?
But at Gaza, Gaza's also the same thing. Israel is an ethno state, and we're fighting for ethno states. America's an ethno state, and we're told we can't have an ethno state. We've got to be part of this whole world thing with the Germans and the French, and every country's the same, and everybody's good, and everybody might be good in their own country, but they're not us. They don't want us to be us, basically. I mean, I they there's a lot of anti-Semitism in this country, which there should be. I'm an anti-Semite, but I mean, yeah, you can understand why it would bother people, but at the end of the day, people are fighting. They're fighting for their lives, and I don't think the British understand that.
How
So
about Trump? How about Trump?
Trump is amazing. He's not the greatest guy on earth, but he is amazing. And the way he's grown, he's like us, Roger. He's like somebody who became great in his old age because he focused. I'm not that way at all. That's why I wish I could be that guy. But he focused. I wish I'd written some jokes about this. He wants he he wants to be a great guy, and he's not going to let defeat him. And
He's got a
so
lot of resilience,
he's
that's for
got a lot
sure.
of resilience. He is a great man, and it bothers the English people because there's nobody like that in this country. I mean, Nigel Farage he's trying to now. I saw him give a speech, and he seemed a bit angry. I saw Ben Habib, and he was angry. We need angry people, and I think Donald Trump. He's been saying the same stuff for 40 years. I remember him in New York, and he was saying that stuff in New York, and he was treated with. He said basically, we can't be giving money to NATO. We're forced to buy their Mercedes Benzes. They're allowed to sell their cars in America, but we can't sell any of our cars there. And then we were told our cars aren't that good, and that's Britain right now. Oh, we're not that good. Britain is a great country. It's full of great people. It's got great stuff going on, and it needs somebody. Maybe I don't know who. It needs someone to sit there and say, I'm fighting for the Angles, the Saxons, the Picts, the Jutes, the Normans, the Celts, the Welsh, the Scots, the Cornish, the 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 um the the Nigerians who moved here 30, 40 years ago. Someone needs to fight for them. Why should we be giving housing to to Lewis Schaffer? Why should we be giving housing to anybody who comes to this country? Screw those people. Oh my God, I'm so horrible. I want to apologize to the British people. They let me into the country. I was invited into the country by my ex-wife. She invited me in to the country.
She's British.
She was British. She was Scottish, living in London. You know, an immigrant herself, but to England, to London. She was from Fife up there.
Five.
Fife, and I don't know. And I mean, I wish I were a nicer person. I'm not a nicer person. I feel bad that I'm here.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah.
Can you tell me I feel bad that I'm here? I
No,
feel
no, that you're not a nice person,
that I'm not a nice person because I want to. Yes, it's funny.
It's not hard to see.
Are you sure?
Yeah, but I still like you, so.
Yeah, well, I want to be liked too. That's my problem, is I want to tell you you're a horrible person, Roger. But I want you to like me. I want to tell English people that they're horrible, but I want them to like me. But the problem is when I first moved to England, you could tell English people they were horrible because they didn't think they were horrible. You could tell that the country was messed up and they would just laugh, you're making fun of us, and you come from America, they were fat in America, they were this. And I was in South Africa. You couldn't tell a South African their country was horrible because they saw it. They saw it basically, and they saw what was happening. The white people did. The black people thought, "Oh, good times ahead."
Yeah.
But they saw this, and what could they do about their country? So you couldn't tell. That's what comedy is. It's telling people who think they're great that they're horrible, and telling people who are horrible that they're great. I don't know whether that's true. I just thought of that now.
It's pretty good. It's pretty
Yeah.
good. What about, first of all, I was thinking the other day about all these American celebrities, comedians,
Yeah.
and movie stars who said they were going to leave the country if Trump got in. And of course, none of them seems to have left. What do you think about comedians and other celebrities actually having political views, or should they just stick to their own knitting and shut up? Because
No, that's all right.
because
They should.
politicians shouldn't do comedy, although they do unwillingly or not on
Yeah.
purpose. What do you think?
I think everybody has an opinion, but do we want to hear their opinion? But sometimes we have to hear their opinion, and they should make their opinion funny. I mean, how could you not have an opinion? We all have an opinion. And are they going to go to Canada? I mean, these are hard. The left are so horrible today. I hate to say it because I was left wing for the first 25 years of my life.
Were you? Okay.
Yeah, we were New York Jews. What do you think we were? We were Democrats, and we weren't Republicans. And the Republicans today are not the Republicans that they were. It's a
Yeah,
totally,
it's totally flip-flopped. When I was a kid, we were all Democrats, and the Republicans were,
yeah,
sort of rich, snobby East Coast elite.
yeah, who looked down on me. I don't
Yeah,
know if they looked down on you.
yeah, sure.
They looked
Yeah.
down on the working class people. Who is the guy? The guy, McCain was one, and who's the other guy? The guy from Boston who moved to Nevada, ran for president. I forget the guy's name.
Oh yeah.
I'm. This is what the problem with getting old.
Yeah.
You don't remember the stuff at the margins, at the stuff you should remember. I don't remember the guy. Well, anyway,
What stuff?
any stuff exactly. You don't remember it. We're talking about something. Pay attention, Roger. We don't remember, but that's what a Republican to me was. Tony Blair was a Republican, and he is a Republican.
Yeah, he could be.
Yeah, what he believes in. He believes he knows it all. He's better than everybody, and he's got the answer, and the answer is hurting us. And that's what the Republic. That's what the
That
whole
wasn't my experience of him. He's very charming. He's very self-effacing.
self-effacing while he's programming pills and vaccines and mass immigration, which is destroying the poor people of this country. Yeah, of course he's nice about it. Hitler was nice. If you met Hitler, say, I'm not killing the Jews. Who says I was killing the Jews? I can't believe how that rumor gets out. You know how the Jews are. They're always spreading those rumors. I love the Jews. That's what self-effacing. You got to be careful with people. They're horrible. Like women, they're so lovely, but they'll kill you. My wife, she was so lovely. She killed me. She didn't even realize she was killing me. She killed me.
Tell me about it.
We got divorced, and it just
How long were you married?
not that long, a couple of years, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't expect marriage to be that way. I had a romantic view of it. They Women, they don't love the way men love. We love. We're lovers. You're a lover.
Explain.
Well, women, they want to be taken care of. They have a whole list of things they want from you, and if you don't give it to them, you don't love them. You ask for one thing from a woman, one thing. Don't sleep with my brother. That's all you ask of them. But they not that my wife did. That was a joke. I shouldn't even joke about that. She's asked me not to joke about it. The point is, what is the point you are making? The point you are making is that in America.
Wait a minute. Your wife slept with your brother?
No, she didn't. I don't even have a brother.
Oh, okay.
That's how you know it's a joke. I don't have a brother.
But if you did, would she have?
No, she might have, just to get back at me. I bet she wouldn't have. She was a lovely woman. She didn't. Maybe she didn't.
So why did the marriage cease?
It stopped because there's no incentive for staying married. She had enough money, and she would get extra money from me if she divorced me. This is why people. It's called MGTOW, not MGTOW. It's called it's the I don't know what it's called. It's called women. Women have their own money now, and they're given money by Joe Biden. They're given money by the state. So if they're unhappy, they go, "Oh, he makes me unhappy," and they go, "Okay, you have to pay alimony, you have to pay child support," and they say to the woman, "You've got a job, and here's your 50-pound what do they call that? Au pair girl to look after the baby." Especially in this country, we're going to Portugal. We're bringing our kid with us. We'll lock him in the room. Um, while we go out and go drinking or whatever we're doing. So what is the point I am making? I'm making is that there's no love in this world. There's the death of love. And so you don't have families, you don't have people relating to each other the way they used to, the way your parents were still married, probably. People got married, they didn't get divorced, did they? No.
Yeah, no, my parents got divorced when I was quite young.
Oh, there you go. So I should have found out more about you.
But they both remarried, so I have
To each
four
other.
parents.
You don't have 4 parents.
I do.
We only have 2 parents.
I have 2 parents, 2 step-parents.
Right, which is
So,
good.
but you've got a girlfriend now.
I don't have a girlfriend now. I do have a girlfriend. I don't have a girlfriend.
You do or you don't?
It depends who's listening.
I don't know, 10,
If other women
12,000.
are listening, I don't want them to think that.
10, 12,000 people will probably be listening to this, maybe 30, 40.
And maybe a couple of them are women, and I'm very attractive.
Very, and I mean, you could be getting a lot of calls. We got your name up here.
Yeah, Lewis Schaffer. You could find me.
How do people get in touch with you?
You could. I'm not Lewis Schaffer. Lewis Schaffer at.
You got an email?
No, don't email me. Just
okay.
Lewis Schaffer at Twitter, or Lewis Schaffer at Facebook.
All right. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of women that are going to get in touch with you.
Don't lie to me, Roger.
I'm not lying. And I want you to come back so you can report on it all. But I don't want to mess with your girlfriend either at the same time. So
I had a girlfriend, a very long time girlfriend. She was really great. Women are great. They're great because when when a woman cares about you, they care about you deeply. And that's an amazing feeling. When you right? And it's an amazing feeling to be loved that much. And they look at you in the eye, and they don't want anything to happen, and they insist you go to the doctor, and they insist you eat whatever it is, eat properly if they know what that is.
yeah.
But when a woman stops loving you,
Not fun.
no. Have you been there? Have you ever been there when a woman stops?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
And there's nothing as empty as it's like it's like black is the absence of light,
Yeah.
or as white as all the colors and black as the is, and that's what when a woman stops loving you, it is you can't believe you think, what did I do to deserve this?
It's like there was nobody ever there.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it was like, didn't we have anything? She said, no, you lied to me completely. I never, no guy would ever say, I never loved you. They would go, I loved you. And then you changed and you started yelling about something. A woman will say, I never loved you. But we had kids together. We were married. How can you say you never? They will
42 years. Yeah,
42 years of never loving you, never loving you. You had sex with me. You did something horrible to me. I wasn't into it at all. You seemed like you were into it. You should have said something. That's women. I mean, it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. That's why I say women are horrible. They're capable of being horrible.
Yeah, they sure are.
Yeah.
Nothing's
Yeah.
worse. Men don't match that.
Men don't match that horribleness.
No.
We don't because we are because they're prepared for us to be horrible, I think. We're
Maybe we earned it. Yeah.
Well, they say we men are horrible. They expect men to be horrible. They don't love us as much in the beginning. Women or pay, they don't think much of us in the beginning, and then later on they grow. We grow on them. Um, that's a good question. Why they just think we're not. They they basically rule us out totally at some point. So if they're ruling us out, I'll have to think more about this. The
So
point.
we've got a bit of time left. Tell me, what else do you want to talk about?
I don't want to talk about anything.
Well,
I'm
pick
afraid to
something.
talk. I was on the radio. I was on the TV last night, and I'm saying how horrible the Europeans are, and and then I walk away and I think to myself, that's so unloving because they have feelings too. The new Prime Minister of Germany, whoever he's going to be, or Macron, or Keir Starmer. You know what I mean? He wants, or even like someone like Tony Blair, he probably wants the best, is trying his best. And then he has some guy like me who's like such a zero industriousness is Lewis Schaffer. So people always say to me, why don't you get your own website? Why don't you get, no, I have a website, but why don't you get your own um, um,
YouTube channel.
YouTube channel like what you're doing? And I go, oh my God, that's so much work. But it's not that much work, but it's
Oh,
so.
it is. It's a lot.
Well, you
If
have
you
to talk to me.
if you do it right.
If you do it right, if you do it the way I would do it, have done it, is I'll speak to somebody for 30 minutes. I won't call them up. No music in the beginning, no music at the end, just nothingness. I like you, Roger. People can tell that you're very likable, but do they know how tall you are?
It's mutual. It's mutual.
Mutually, you like people too.
I like you.
You like me. Well, I like you. I don't like you, but I mean, no, I think because you're probably a pretty. I mean, now that you told me your parents were divorced, that's really it's tragic. I see it. It's tragic. I divorced my wife, and she divorced me, and it's not good. You gotta love. You gotta love the. I leave with this. You gotta not leave with this, but you have to love the woman you're with. You have to love them, even if
Sure.
even if they're destroying you. You've got to figure a way to love them, and then they'll love you back.
Very good.
Is that right? Am I right about that?
Absolutely.
You got to love them, and you look at them and you say, "You." I look at my wife and say, "You lied to me," and even if they lied to you, you still have to love them. You can't back out of it. It's like me being in this country. You have to love the country, even though you want to say to them, you've been telling people around the world that you're so sophisticated and you're a bunch of barbarians. You can't say that to this country. You've got to say, "Oh, you're amazing," because they want to be told that. And they'll always be in England. Don't you worry about the guy. They'll always be in England. That's what they want to hear.
Yeah.
I'm telling them they got to fight for their country. Do I sound like I'm articulate?
Very.
I don't know what I'm saying, really. I think about taking, you eat a meat-based diet.
Yeah.
Because I eat only meat and eggs. I had 6 raw egg yolks this morning,
Wow.
and red beef, uncooked,
Huh.
and with some butter.
Well, you look healthy.
Thank you. I hope I
Good.
am. You don't know. I could be rotting inside.
Let's hope not.
Yeah.
Okay, Lewis, thank you so much for your time. It's really been great.
Thank you,
Uh,
Roger.
you're a really funny guy, and you've got some great insights, and we'd love to have you back again.
We should be friends. I could use a new friend.
For
And
sure, for
I
sure.
love
So,
America. And I love even Americans who come to this country who love this country. I, you know, I I would even forget that about you. I would love I love you for who you are, for what you are.
thank you. And we'll have you back soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you for asking me.